when you get ready, I'll go ahead and start it. It's something that Bobby's got set up. So whenever you get ready, I'll just do it and we'll play it and then
I got to tell Michael Cole something.
Oh, yeah. Hey, we got to clean up start. I just got
Southern gentleman will got the district. That discussion job, they make anything made.
trees when we're talking about John is, yes, John.
Just
Next time. Leave the dog. Rick Cooper for collateral. Rick Cooper for collateral.
Remember, if Cooper needs to use the bathroom, sure is always available. Jody.
Cardi Curtis is coffee. It rained. Calling me said, oh, right.
I know, we looked at that one time, because it put them to school.
Hi, Daniel. Daniel, introduce yourself.
Everyone stand. Sullivan County County Commission is now in session with Speaker Pro Temp John Gardner presiding.
Thank you, Officer White. I'd like to invite everyone to remain standing to throughout the end of the Pledge of Allegiance, but first our invocation by Commissioner Crawford. Mr. Crawford.
That would be prayer, please. Father God, it is with grateful hearts that we come before you tonight to seek your wisdom and your guidance through this meeting. Lord, we're somewhat sad at the passing of our mayor's brother, and we lift that family up to you, Jerry's wife and the children. God, we just pray you comfort them and comfort Richard as well. Bless this time now. Thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for the good health you've given us. Watch over us, care for us, keep us safe. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
When the board opens, please report your presence. Thank you. Has every member recorded their presence? Madam Clerk.
19 present, 5 absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have a quorum. First order is we have a special proclamation that we'd like to present in recognition of Lola Campbell for outstanding leadership and exemplary community service. But first we have a video we'd like to share. I'll make my way down to the proclamation.
Honoring Black History is brought to you by the Tennessee Education Lottery.
We're honoring Black history. We celebrate the legacy of one woman who helped shape nursing in the region.
Yeah, growing up, Lola Campbell always wanted to become a nurse. However, achieving that dream would be a challenge for the Model City residents. Campbell desegregated the nurse training corps at Wilson Valley Medical Center, helping create more nursing opportunities in the region. News Channel 11's Catherine Simpson had a chance to sit down and talk with Campbell. Catherine, tell us what obstacles she faced.
Sarah Casey Campbell started looking into nursing when she graduated from high school in 1952. But living in the segregated South, opportunities were scarce. When the Kingsport City Schools announced plans to integrate in 1960, Campbell saw a path to the career that she'd always dreamed of. Lola Campbell doesn't know how many phone calls it took to gain admission to Kingsport's nursing school.
I just kept going, I kept calling.
But she knows it took years of work before she finally made a breakthrough in 1960.
They called me on Friday to tell me that they would start the class that Monday.
Campbell says the principal assumed she wouldn't be able to complete the necessary paperwork to start that spring, but said she could start in the fall. That wasn't soon enough for the Kingsport resident.
And with the help of God, my aptitude test and all the things I had to have was done by Friday afternoon. So I walked in, surprised me, Monday morning.
Earning admission was just the first hurdle, however. Once in training, Campbell contended with doctors who were resistant to change and even patients who refused to be treated by a Black woman.
That's just the way things are. I didn't expect them to accept me. I just wanted to go through enough so I could get to be the nurse.
Campbell achieved her goal, spending nearly 30 years as a nurse at Holston Valley Medical Center and eventually earning her RN. But it isn't her own accomplishments that make her most proud. It's a moment from the end of her training year. Campbell says she watched an acquaintance, another Black woman, walk out of the nursing office with an application.
And it took me all those years. But every time I think about it, I can hurt. But that was the moment. For her to walk in and get the application and everything, the door was open.
And we have a proclamation from Ms. Campbell. Madam Clerk, if you'll read the proclamation while they make their way up.
Proclamation honoring Mrs. Lola Campbell. Whereas Lola Campbell made an outstanding contribution in providing medical care to countless residents of Sullivan County throughout a 30-year career in nursing. And whereas Campbell has shown exemplary leadership, which encouraged many others to follow her pioneering efforts and accomplishments within the medical community in Sullivan County. And whereas Campbell persevered to overcome great obstacles in order to ultimately make true her childhood dream to become a nurse and care for others. And whereas Campbell, along with other young women of color, gained admission to what would be the first integrated nurse training program offered at Holston Valley Community Hospital. And whereas Campbell graduated from the program in 1961 and became the first black nurse at Holston Valley, continuing to treat and care for patients there for decades to come, despite sometimes facing challenges in her early career. And whereas, through Campbell's steadfast focus on her work and goals, she earned a scholarship to become a registered nurse. And whereas, Campbell maintained a quest throughout her career to excel in learning and practicing cutting-edge treatments, equipment, and technologies used in her specialized field as a surgical nurse. Therefore, be it resolved that Sullivan County Mayor Richard Gamble, on behalf of the Sullivan County Commission, hereby proclaims February 15th, 2024 as Lola Campbell Day in Sullivan County, and encourage all citizens to join in celebrating Lola's perseverance, exemplary leadership, and outstanding contribution to Sullivan County. Subscribe to this 15th day of February 2024.
Mrs. Campbell, on behalf of Sullivan County Mayor Richard Gamble and the Board of Commissioners, it's our honor to present you and family with this proclamation, and we'd love to hear a few words from you if you'd like to. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You know, when you look back at things that you never really thought was going to happen, and then they happen. But with all things, God is in control. No matter what the circumstances are, if we continue to just hold on to His hands and believe and trust in Him, He will open doors. And He opens so many for me. And I'm grateful to be able to stand here and tell all other young people, if they desire to do something, to not give up. You don't stop with the first no. You keep going and going until either they get tired of you and give it to you or they pass it. So I just want them to know that it is possible to do the things that the Lord would have you to do. And I thank you so much for this proclamation.
Next order, appointments. Recognize Commissioner Lott on on the next order, Constable District 11 appointment. Mr. Ross, you ready, sir?
We'll go ahead and run it. I'll talk to him. We'll go ahead and do the, talk to Travis, make everything good. It was being, the reason this is getting brought back up is a issue with the affidavit and psychological examination form through the new law that was passed at Tennessee General Assembly. We have caught that, got it recorrected, and should be good to go.
We have a letter in place nominating Corey Hall for constable in District 11. Commissioner Lott moves Corey Hall to be appointed constable for the 11th Commission District. Are there any, I declare the floor is open for nominations. Is there anyone seeking recognition for a nomination? Is there anyone, I have to ask, is there anyone from the public wishes to express interest in either suggesting a nomination or seeking a position? Commissioner Law? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
That's okay.
Please, if you will, come introduce yourself and give us your address and we'll recognize you.
Yeah, my name is Robert Payne. I was applied for District 9. There was a opening in District 9.
For District 9?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll have to,
When was that in the paper?
I'm sorry?
When was that in the paper? Was it ran in the paper for a notice of an opening?
It's been in the paper.
we'll deal with District 11 first, and then I'll confer with Attorney Street, and we'll see if we can do that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Recognize Commissioner Law. Entertain motion for nominations to cease.
Yes.
Commissioner Law moves that nomination cease. Without objection, nomination cease for Constable District 11. Could they do this on a roll call or can we put it on the board?
I might be able to do it here because I only got one, so there's only one on here, so I might be able to pull it up and do it on the board.
Okay.
Let's see if we can. Are we ready?
It still requires 13 votes for passage. All those in favor of Mr. Hall being appointed constable will vote yes. So when it's on the board, please cast your vote. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk, cast vote.
21 yes, 3 against.
After receiving the necessary majority of the votes cast, Corey Hall is appointed constable in the 11th Constable District. Now, we'll address the gentleman's question about the District 9 appointment. Where is he?
I already took him outside.
Commissioner Attorney Street might have a couple of questions for you regarding your paperwork, your psychological evaluation, and everything that's involved with that. Do you have all your paperwork in that regard?
I turned it back into the county clerk's office. It was not Teresa's office, it was the one that was beside her.
It's the
Is that
same.
correct? Okay.
If we're in order, I don't see any reason why we can't go through the appointment, but it's totally. Okay, sure, Attorney Street.
Yes, sir, you know, there's a new statute that you have to provide us a certificate from a psychologist. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, sir.
Have you done that and turned that in to the clerk's office?
Yes, sir.
That's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Clark, you seek recognition?
Go ahead.
Commissioner Murray, I recognize you.
Yeah, if I could, I'm going to be a little bit out of order. I just had a couple of questions. So you submitted your application
Yes, sir.
and done the psychological.
Yes, sir.
You worked it with law enforcement, correct?
No, I haven't worked in law enforcement.
And I'm sorry, I'm not sure your last name was.
EPA.
And could maybe just tell us a little bit why you want to serve in this capacity?
I would like to help my community and everything. I know some things are happening in the Lynn Martin area, and I'd like to be there for them, help them in the area.
And are you familiar with, or acquainted with some of the jobs that duties that
Yes, sir.
That's all the questions I have. I would like to nominate Mr. Payne as constable for the District 9.
There's a vacancy.
There was a vacancy, and we appointed, we did an appointment a few months ago, and then there was an immediate vacancy right behind it, it's been taken percent. It's been in, according. Well, I have the list of people here, I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna take it in order. Commissioner Long, you seek recognition?
Yeah.
Okay.
The appointment we done in District 9 Constable, he refused a psychological examination due to the cost of monies it takes to do that. He didn't want to spend the $700 and some to do it. Didn't feel the need that it needed to get it done, so therefore he didn't accept the position, never was sworn in. I do know that there was a publication in the paper for District 9, I think it was a few months ago. So, Travis, go ahead.
We'll recognize Commissioner Crawford next.
Well, I'm a little uneasy with this presentation the way it is. Normally, we have it presented to us in the form of a resolution or a recommendation, but all of a sudden, this has just come to us out of the blue. I'm uneasy with receiving any nominations and any vote tonight on this matter.
Commissioner Ward.
Thank you. I think we ought to push this back to next month. I met this guy about 2 minutes ago, and everybody else did. Nobody knows anything about him. We just had an egg on our face the last time. And usually we get an application process, and let's verify his application. And I don't think we're in a rush to fill that position, so I would ask that we push this back to next month, so we have time, everybody in this room has time to look at his application and to make sure everything's verified. Please.
Is that palatable with you, sir?
Yeah.
Anyone else seek recognition on, we'll take it in order. Commissioner Bannon.
That's, I concur with Commissioner Ward. It seems a little rushed, and I'd like to push it back to next month too, if possible.
Commissioner Iverson.
I guess one thing I'd like to make sure, and I don't know if we do know, but it would be nice to know if, after we filled the position, if we re-advertise the position, or if we only re-advertise it for the time that we filled it before, which would kind of take a second notice, I would think. If you fill the position and it goes vacant immediately because the person doesn't do it, it seems like you have to identify again, I'm just not sure. And I guess that's the main thing. When was your paperwork turned in?
I turned it in about probably a week, 2 weeks ago.
And I don't even know that process. I appreciate that. I don't know that process. Is that something that has to be reviewed and then they come along and say, yes, it's accurate? And I mean, if that process is happening, I'll ask Mr. Chambers.
Okay, the process is, the candidate turns their paperwork into our office. We then submit it to the mayor's office. I'm not sure what happens at that point. We just receive the paperwork. My office just receives the paperwork. That's all we do.
So you don't review it, you just accept it and then pass it on?
No.
So I kind of,
I
I
mean, we
don't
kind
feel
of look
comfortable.
over it, but
Yeah, I guess I'm with everyone else. I'd like to delay just long enough to figure out if that process has proceeded forward to make sure everything's accurate. So, that's.
Commissioner McMurphy, please.
Yes, I understand everybody's feelings on this, and I'll take full responsibility for this. This is my district, and I should have known about it, and I didn't know about it. And with that in mind, and I hear everybody's thoughts on this, and maybe some consternation and really uneasy, apprehensive about moving forward. So I'd like to withdraw my nomination at this time. And if we could, just get the application, maybe look through it, and in that way, we're better informed. And I apologize for my rush. I was trying to pick up the pieces, being, something just being sprung on us.
Kurt, if that's pleasing to you, that's what we'll do. We'll postpone it for a month, and we'll see you then.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience. Thank you. And traditionally, when something's not on the calendar like that, it's easy to defer, but I just want to make sure that make sure you didn't have an application been waiting for 2 months to get approved. I just want to get answers like y'all did. Next order is the approval of minutes from previous meeting. Motion to approve by Commissioner Crawford, second by Commissioner Cross. Any discussion on the minutes? When the board is open, please cast your votes on the minutes. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote?
Darlene? I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
I pushed it, I thought, I guess I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
Madam Clerk,
22 yes, 2 absent.
having received the necessary majority of the votes cast, the minutes are approved. Next order, approval of notaries. Madam Clerk, you have this, notaries?
Robin Denise Bowling, Gia Bostic, Felicia Brown, Sandra J. Buchanan, Cody Cable, Michelle J. Clemens, Julia Cullinger, Matthew Elvis Dollar, Clayton P. Dowell, Darlene R. Engel, Marcia N. Fangle, John Gideon III, Heather L. Greer, Karen Elizabeth Guy, Adrian Harless, Beverly Harold Miller, Madison Miller, Elizabeth Renee Montgomery, Tracy Moore, Kenneth A. Morrell, Charity D. Murphy, Jeremy Prophet, Alexis B. Rosenbaum, Lori Russell, Regina L. Slaughter, Heather R. Trainmarker, Stephanie Walker, Sharon R. Wallace, Laurie Whitmore, George Williams, Hunter Bryce Woodie, Sarah Elizabeth Blacko.
You've heard the list. Any discussion on the list of notaries? Seeing none, without objection, when the board is open, please cast your vote on approval of notaries. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk,
22 yes, 2 absent.
having received the necessary majority of the votes cast, notaries are approved. Next order, public comment. Is anyone here from the public wish to address the commission for public comment? Without objection, the public comment portion of the meeting is closed. Next order is the consent calendar. Any discussion on the consent calendar? We have items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8 on the consent calendar. If you're able, if anyone needs to ask to bump one off, now's the time to do it. Without objection, we're ready to vote on the consent calendar. Madam Clerk. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk.
22 yes, 2 absent.
Having received the necessary majority of the votes cast, the consent calendar is approved. That brings us to our regular order of business. Recognize Commissioner King on item number 6.
Excuse me, trying to get everything situated. This resolution is to amend the 2024 fiscal budget for the county buildings to cover increased cost of supplies and materials for this fiscal year. We've had some big projects going on that has taken more money than usual, and therefore they are asking for $250,000 to be funded from the fund balance in the general fund to cover the cost of what she has spent already, and that'll get her to the end of the year. So with all the money that she spent, she's running out of money, and she needs some money to continue till we get to the end of the year in the new budget.
You've heard the explanation on item number 6.
Waiver of rules, please.
Sponsor moves waiver of rules on item number 6. Any discussion on item number 6? Sponsor moves waiver of rules. Are you ready to vote?
Yes.
When the board opens, please cast your vote on item number 6. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk.
22 yes, 2 absent.
Having received the necessary majority of the votes cast, item number 6 is adopted. Without objection, recognize Commissioner Locke on item number 9.
Thank you, Chair. This resolution is approved funding needed to cover the increased cost by Sullivan County Ankle Monitor Program. This is on the waiver rules. I think it's $52,000, has an increase of the program plus find more ankle monitors for the inmates for the pre-trial release program.
You've heard the explanation. Sponsor moves waiver of rules on item number 9. Recognize Commissioner Glover on item number 9.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hunter, would you accept an amendment to this resolution for, remember last month when Commissioner Ward done a presentation for the building that he's not about getting when his okay, move into that building with the ankle monitor program. It's going to give him about 5 or 6 months before the budget's done to produce electric, utility, water, and so forth. Would you accept an amendment to this resolution for $5,500 added on to that for him to pay his utilities and his water and electric till we do the budget?
Write it up, give it to the clerk, and I'll accept that then.
Sponsor accepts the proposed amendment. Anyone else seeking recognition on item number 9?
Travis and I still don't like each other even though we did this, so.
Now it's on record.
Because you've got hair.
Without objection, when the board opens, please cast your vote. Oh, excuse me. Commissioner Murray?
Yeah, I'm sorry for talking so much to me, but I would like to know, like, how much we're really saving with this program. I don't know if you've ever done it in the county, but this is a great program, and every dollar that we spend on this, we get back. I mean, we're getting paid dividends for this program, and I don't know if Commissioner Ward actually knows how much we've really saved the county by instituting this program, but I'd like to know.
Commissioner Ward?
I'm not gonna throw you under the bus, okay? But I did a presentation. You just happened not to be here that night. So, I'd be more than happy to pull the video and see it. Just briefly, I think on a daily basis, you're looking at, to house an inmate, you're looking at $46 a day. When we can kick them out for about $4.50 a day. We bypass the vendor and go straight to the ankle monitor company. My pretrial department, we don't have somebody monitor our people, we monitor our people ourselves. So doing the math, if you got 72 as of today, times 450, I mean, 30 days out of the month, you know, it's about 10,000, but you multiply that by 46 a day, you can do the math, but I'd say over a period of a year, I'm not sure I could go, I'd say more than a million. I'd say close to 300. But I'll be more than happy to pull that whole presentation. Well, I think there was 23 of us here.
So we don't want to tell you
Hey, Joe, I don't think there's gonna be any survivors in that wreck, people. But, Mr. Iverson?
Just one quick question, because this expands it by 78, right? You said you got 300 out, I think. I mean, it's a lot more than that, I believe.
Absolutely. I mean, we're just talking ankle monitor people. We're talking about pretrial. On that today, it was 347 people out. Okay, there you go. And when the populations, I actually taught a class today, and
around 4 o'clock. Population's about 930. You add that many back to it. Correctional officers know when that inmate level's high. Incidents happen, fights happen, incident reports go up. It's just a total different atmosphere in there. But when you get it down around 900, we'd love to have it about 800. We're on inside correction. And the facility is totally different. So, cost savings, I think it's probably over since pretrial's been around. I'm on 13, 15 million up there. So, is it working? Absolutely. Is it getting better? Yes. Can it grow? Yes. But it's not just me and my team. It's judges. I mean, a lot of correctional officers, a lot of patrol. I mean, it's a total team effort. So there's a lot of people. We have a lot of meetings and talk about a lot of different approaches to try to do things. So I don't think it gets it that. I think where it saved probably the most money is probably in the medical. So inmates sitting at the hospital for weeks and months. I know one inmate alone, it was about $1.3 million, just on one inmate. We were able to put him on house arrest, actually inside the hospital, and pretrial officers check on him 3 or 4 times a day. So with this, there's cost incurred for ankle monitors. That's obviously going to go up when we put out when we have to spend on ankle monitors. That's very reduced cost. So with that answer your question.
Sponsor renews his motion on waiver of rules without objection when the board opens. Ask you vote on item number 9. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk?
22 yes, 2 absent.
Having received the necessary majority of the votes cast, item number 9 is adopted. Without objection, recognize Commissioner Glover on item number 10.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This resolution is to authorize the purchase agent to enter into a new lease for a postage mailing machine for the Sullivan County Mail Service Department. The life of these is about the 6-month period that she's got down here for that type of machine. I think it separates ways that things with the mail that she sends out on a daily basis. I'm not going to read the whole resolution, but that Q-U-A-D-I-E-N-T, if you read that backwards, that means mailing machine. So that's they exceed the $472.94 monthly over a 60-month period.
You've heard the explanation on item number 10. Anyone seeking recognition for discussion on item number 10? Mr. Raker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman Pro Tem. Now, Herschel, I mean, it is 2024, do they not use any digital communication or anything?
This could be an AI mailing machine. I'm not really sure.
And AI, what does AI stand for?
Artificial intelligence.
Okay. And they have that down in Bluff City and Pine Flat?
Yes, we do. That's how we get it. It's mostly come out here to tree, sir.
Yeah, you can. All right. So have you seen this machine and seen what it can do for them and everything?
Chris works with it on a daily basis. I think Michelle could probably explain to us really what this thing does.
David, I know you're disappointed.
Oh, I
It's
am.
not a copier.
Commissioner Jean.
Thank you. Now we've got a copier man. I guess you're going to be the.
It's 60 months before I do another mailing machine.
So, but you're still going to be the mail machine man.
Yes.
All right.
Stamp stops in.
Thanks. What did we get? A hat and all that? All right. 23 hats. All right.
Anyone seeking recognition on the resolution?
Call for the question.
Commissioner Glover renews his motion on item number 10 on the waiver of rules. Without objection, Please cast your vote on item number 10 in the board office. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk.
22 yes, 2 absent.
After receiving the necessary majority of votes cast, item number 10 is adopted. Without objection, recognize Commissioner Vanover on item number 11.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Item 11 is a resolution to create a grants coordinator position for Sullivan County government to act in cooperation with the finance and purchasing departments in evaluating the grants solicited by the various county departments. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Sullivan County assembled in regular session hereby authorizes the establishment of a grant coordinator and the hiring of a person qualified to assist the various departments of Sullivan County in identifying available grant funds and monitoring the compliance, including filing for reimbursement. And further be it resolved, 23-24 fiscal year budget for the general fund be amended to cover the annual cost for the current fiscal year, paying salary ranging from $45,000 to $50,000, plus benefits estimated at $13,250, as well as a one-time setup cost of operations totaling $6,000, supplies and contracted services $3,600, totaling $70,850 for annual cost. This resolution shall take effect after the passage. All resolutions in conflict herewith be the same rescinded as far as such conflict exists. To give you a little explanation, this is a position that we would like to create in Sullivan County to bring some more accountability to our grant program. We've got millions and millions of dollars worth of grants that no one knows really who's tracking. There's a lot of requirements, a lot of deadlines, a lot of reimbursements that have to be done. So we'd like to create one position to be in charge of this coordination. Now, this is not anything that would prevent a department from doing their own grants or asking for their own grants or monitoring their own grants if they so choose. But this is just a position that I hope that all of our departments would utilize and take advantage of it. So I'm glad to answer any questions that may come along. It's been discussed in the Finance Committee. No action was taken. It's been before the Budget Committee. It passed unanimously for a positive recommendation. So I think it's a good position. I think it's an example of sometimes you got to spend a little money to make a little money. So I think this is one of those cases, and I think it'll be very beneficial for our county.
You've heard the explanation on item number 11. Recognize Commissioner Iverson on item number 11.
For the last, the time I've been here, and even before that, I think they've been saying the county needs a grant writer. I think there's millions of dollars that go to the state and go unclaimed because we don't have people that are actually putting in for it. As easy as you would think a grant writer position would be, it's almost like a different language. It's not as easy. It has to be just the right way. Having someone on staff here that's able to look at the grants and look at the application process, sometimes you find out it seems like a lot of money, but it's so much work and so many hoops and so many effort, you may actually be going backwards by going in some of these grants. Getting somebody on the county level, the sheet that we got yesterday, the Budget Committee, was over $20 million of grants that are going through just the departments now. That doesn't count the schools, that doesn't count the highway department. There's a tremendous amount of money going through. And most of these grants have a 30-day requirement, 90-day requirement, 180-day requirement of reports. And if we miss those reports, we actually are subject to giving that money back. They can actually recall the money from the grant because we've messed up our part of it. So I consider this a safety net. I consider it an insurance policy, someone that actually can help evaluate the grants, track the grants, do all of the legwork, because right now there's so many grants going through and they just are added to the workload of other people. And I think we talked about Chris Davis, she's having to track a lot of grants, but that's not her job. She's doing that in addition to her job. So this will actually allow the mayor's office to have a group to look at, and Chris's office to have someone to say, hey, you look at this and tell me what we need to do, instead of them having to continue. So I think this is a good position, something that's gonna really benefit the county, and support it fully.
Commissioner Jones.
To echo Commissioner Iverson, yesterday in the budget committee, we discussed this with Mr. Bailey, and you know, there, as he said, there's reporting dates, and if you miss those reporting dates, you can be subject to have that money paid back, and we're aware that that's happened in some counties. And like I said, it's an insurance policy. I think the motion yesterday in the budget committee is that all the members of the budget committee be added as co-sponsors. Didn't see that on this resolution.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you. I attended the budget committee meeting yesterday evening where this grant-related job was discussed. And I'd like to say that I fully realize the potential benefits that would come from this new position, but I would like to ask some questions tonight because we didn't have the opportunity to ask these questions in the work session last week since it didn't come up. And the first question is there a job description that has been written for this position which details all the specific duties and responsibilities associated with this proposed job? And the reason I ask this is because Mr. Iverson just spoke about grant writers, and my understanding from Mr. Bailey the other night was that we have plenty of grant writers. and so it's not about grant writing, so we need to have that, I think, very specific in a job description. My second question then would be, do we need to post this position to determine whether or not there are other qualified candidates whom we should consider hiring? Number 3, instead of hiring a permanent full-time position with salary and benefits, can this position be initially established as a contract position with no benefits? And number 4, or can we consider approving this position as a temporary position for 1 year until we can look at a year of results and data to determine the effectiveness of this position, and then make a more informed decision on whether or not this position should be a permanent position based on the return on investment data. I am not in favor of creating additional government jobs at our taxpayers' expense until we can identify the value of the job using specific and tangible data, which this position should easily be able to clearly document. Therefore, I would like to ask for an amendment to the resolution that reads that the grant coordinator position will be established for a period of 1 year from the effective date of hire, after which the job then will be evaluated at the end of that 1 year performance year for the purpose of determining the effectiveness, the return on investment, and the long-term feasibility of the position.
Commissioner Dowd already commented that.
Okay, to try to answer one of those questions, we're not in the personnel business here at the county commission. We're here to approve funding and make the funds available for this position. So that's all we're doing tonight, is just trying to make the funds available for this position. That's all we're doing here. We need to leave it up to our department heads and Mr. Bailey and those leaders in those positions who are elected to be leaders or appointed to be leaders to make decisions as far as job description. I'm sure he has one. I'm sure he's done this before. I think he knows how to make a job description. But our job tonight is just to allocate the funds for this position. That's all we're trying to do.
Yeah, but you're putting the cart before the horse if we don't have the details of that.
You can't hire anybody unless you got a position created.
We haven't identified exactly what the position is. That's the problem. We don't have that data.
It's a grant coordinator, and she'll be on the front end of these grants, especially new grants. Hopefully, everybody will use her as a resource in the county and go through her, and she can keep a spreadsheet of the grants that are ongoing. She can have dates that have to be met as far as benchmarks. She can make sure reimbursements are being taken care of. And I think not only will this make them organized and accountable, but it'll take a load of work off some other people who are doing 2 or 3 jobs. So I see it's a very necessary position, and I think we got to trust our department heads and the people who are in those positions to choose the right person and to come up with the right job description. So we're here again, just to allocate funds to create this position. That's all we're doing tonight.
And I would just say, again, just because we don't have an HR department doesn't mean that we need to not observe what is HR protocol. And I don't think that's been followed here. So that would be my concern, and that's why I suggested that we do it as a temporary, so that we can get the data and make an informed decision. So it's not saying we're not doing it.
Well, I think the problem with that is it's a very competitive atmosphere out there to hire people, especially in this line of work. So if you're advertising a temporary position, you probably get a temporary person. So we're looking for a quality person who can do a job that has experience. And I think a full-time position would be more attractive to a better quality person with more experience.
So I'm not sure about the amendment, if we can put that.
You reject the amendment?
Yes.
I'm gonna come back to you, Commissioner King, but I'm gonna recognize Attorney Street real quick. Attorney Street.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to say, as I've said before, the county is made up of, I can't remember, 10 independent elected offices and a couple of appointed offices. So I would like if you could to put in the resolution who this particular employee will report to, who she will be under, who he or she will be under.
This person will work under Larry Lake. It's in the resolution as in finance and purchasing, but we can make an amendment if that's okay with Mr. Bailey.
Quite frankly, it's something the purchasing agent and I've discussed. And she tries to move it over to me, and I try to move it over to her. That's not saying there's any differences of opinion and so forth. We feel like that the position is going to be needed and have to be coordinated between the two of us to make it effective. Because there's many parts that we do, we'll follow very closely with what the purchasing agents have to do, and there's a lot of it that we'll be having to deal with as far as who it's under. And currently, the purchasing agent, I have a very good working relationship, and our staffs do. So that's the best I can answer that question, who it's under. Apparently, it's me, but if I can pass it back to Chris, I'd be happy to. Not saying, but we do need it, and it would help a lot. The point is, there's a resolution we pass every day in here, every time we meet, that we don't even know where they come from. There's a sponsor that asks the sponsor, and usually somebody's handed it to them and asked them to present it. And a few years ago, we started putting in all resolutions back then, it got cast away somewhere. The initials of the person that wrote the resolutions. That's, and you can't understand when Chris has it, and yesterday one come to her desk. And where did this come from? What does it mean? And started searching around, and she found out quite a bit about it in a day. But if we have a person in position that once one is presented here, to go through and identify the different components of it, and where it's originated, and evaluate the requirement, whether it's federal, state, the requirements for the purchasing, the requirements for the accounting, requirements for the reimbursement, time frame that's got to be spent by. All those factors come into play for both she and I, keeping up with it.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey, but like most people in this room, I think feel more comfortable if we can say that they're working under your supervision.
That's left up to this body, it's $5 million.
Larry Bailey will be the supervisor.
Commissioner King, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you. I think probably the biggest advantage I see of doing this is Larry, his team, his department is covered up right now. But, you know, he more or less didn't get done with the last budget, we started the new budget. And then you look at Chris and her office, what they're doing, you know, you got how many buildings and how many contracts and how many things is she doing daily, and it's getting bigger as we're, you know, more projects that's going on. So we're gonna have some help for these people to do this stuff if we're gonna do it right. And that, I think this position would do that. It takes some of the workload off of Chris's office, it takes some workload off of Larry's office. And, you know, if we can't do this stuff and do it right, then, you know, we don't need to be taking these, grants and stuff in the way I look at it. If you can't do it right and get it done in a timely manner, make sure that we close them out and everything is collected and everything is reimbursed that we're supposed to be doing. I think that's where we need to be, is to be more professional as a county, that we're doing this stuff and it's not haphazard, you know, who's doing this and then who's doing that one. You know, I just think it's something we need.
Commissioner Akers.
Thank you, Chairman Pro Tem. I couldn't agree with Dwight King more. We talked about this for probably over a year, about the opportunity to needing this and doing it. And as Commissioner King said, do it right. He said that 3 times. As we talked in the budget committee yesterday, it was spoke about, but we didn't have a resolution. And for us to do it on waiver of rules, I think is unfair to it, because as I mentioned in the budget committee meeting, we are not in the hiring and firing of people. We provide the funds for that, as the sponsor said. And so I got some calls about it after the meeting last night. And I wanted to wait and see how this resolution played out. Because I could be wrong, but it's pretty much, I think they've already tried, they got the person they want, now they gotta make the position for it and everything. As the sponsor kept saying she would do this, she would do that. And our budget director yesterday at the budget meeting talked about the person they interviewed in the week. And so, yeah, I firmly agree with everything Dwight King, Commissioner King just said. But do it right, and I don't think we're doing it right. I think we're hastily rushing the resolution to fit the hire. And so there's no reason not to have, I mean, just now, everyone admitted, they don't know where this person's gonna end up, whose office, and everything. And so if we're gonna run this thing on waiver of rules tonight, I can't support it, but I support the job. I wholeheartedly support the job. We talked about it. We have millions of dollars coming in, and we have probably more that we could do, but we don't need to rush a hire that may or may not be exactly done and everything, so.
Commissioner Glover.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Saying in this resolution, it says grant coordinator. Is this person going to write grants too, or just be a grant coordinator?
Be a grant coordinator.
Okay. I think, why are we not looking at doing a grant writer? That's what we talked about doing for the county, is providing a grant writer for us. And the other question I've got is now, I'm sure a lot of people's familiar with it, but I was unaware of this the other day. Right now, all the grants that come to Sullivan County from the state of Tennessee is sent to Miss Anna Gordon. Is all the grants that's available going to be sent to this person that's hired in this position, or how is that going to be handled?
We would like for her to be the first point of contact, yes.
So whoever this person is will be replacing her as contact from the state on all of them. Sam, now listen, if you want to speak, push your button. I'll show you the same amount of courtesy, and I expect it to.
Okay.
You're not going to talk over me anymore. Push your button.
Let's get back on track.
But now,
To answer your question, as far as I know, this person will be the first point of contact, and but I can't say that 100%, we haven't talked about that.
So maybe later on, we will be looking at hiring a grant writer.
That would be a goal, I think this is the first step toward that. I think this person can show the value of what we're trying to do, and hopefully, morph into some grant writers. I would hope so.
So when we do that, maybe we can move this particular person underneath Ms. Davis, and then the grant writer would be underneath your office and the county commission's office, correct?
I didn't quite understand the question.
If we do this grant coordinator, they're gonna be working directly with Chris in purchasing and so forth, is that correct?
They would be working with Chris, definitely.
Okay, so the next process would we do a full-time grant writer?
Well, I think that you consider trying to comprehensively break into the grant program of developing a process to make sure you know what your grants are and make sure you follow through. That's kind of like the person that initiates something and they're going to be seeing it. They won't be necessarily the first person that goes out and brings a grant in. They could be in many cases. That's not saying they will be, because many of them are presented by, like the health department, education department, the sheriff's department, all these departments. There's a flow of grants to those departments, but this person will still be looking at that grant to tell us what's in it and what's going to be required for us to implement the grant. And many times, there's things in it like the deadlines as to when it's got to be finished by. I know Chris had one the other day presented to her, and the deadline is almost, could be impossible to meet. Got to purchase it, got to bid it, that is, before you purchase it, and you got to be able to complete the project and file for the reimbursement. Another big factor is, do we have to spend our money and get reimbursed for it? That's one of the first things right off the bat. All those are factors that come into play that we deal with daily. Most of them don't come past in all grants, but to some degree, and this is the reason the coordinator is needed, to look and see what is it. If it's already presented, then how are we supposed to implement it?
Okay. I'm with Commissioner Akers. I'm not against this, but I'm against the non-local rules. And, I think we need to maybe gather some more information and have it ready for next month and have some of those questions in this questions answered in this resolution, just like I asked about, contact person for the grants coming from the state and so forth. So, that's all I got.
Mr. Harrison.
First, I'll say, I did misspeak. I think we need a grant writing department. I think that's a fair statement. We need to have grant writers. But what I didn't say, and I failed to say, was that it's kind of the cart before the horse. If you have 15 people writing grants and nobody keeping track of them, we're going to get in trouble really fast. So I think that this position is really needed to say, we need to find a way and set a process of tracking and find out exactly what's coming, what's going on before you start having another person writing grants. And I think that's the big problem. That's why I support this completely. The other part is, we didn't ask for this position. We have 2 directors, 2 heads of department heads saying, we've got a problem. And our problem is we have grants that there's no one assigned to track. We're all having to track our own. There's nobody assigned to do this. We need help. So I think one of our main things, and my main thing, and my understanding of what we're doing here, is we're trying to help the department heads and the county run smoother and do their job. So when a department head comes to me and says, I have a problem, and I need your help, I'm gonna help them. And I talked to both of them today, and talked to both of them yesterday. Yes, we need help. We have things coming through we can't track. We have things coming through we have issues with. The fact that they found somebody they're comfortable with, it means nothing to me. All we're trying to do is to say, you need help, let's give you some help, we'll give you the money to create the position, how you create the position, what that job description is, what you want them to do, that's kind of on them. It's for them to hire somebody, it's for them to do this. They create the position, they create the job description, they create the employee, they do everything. They're going to pay, the benefits, everything. What we have the ability to do and what we have, in my mind, my personal obligation is If you say you have a problem, and I have the ability to help you, I'm gonna help you. So they've asked us for this, they've asked you for waiver of rules because they have a problem, and they don't wanna let this problem continue expanding. Like you just said, there was one that they have, and they didn't realize it was supposed to be in their offices, and now they may miss it completely. And it was, from what I saw yesterday, I think it was a $500,000 grant, so it's a lot of money. So if we have a position that's gonna help us save a $500,000 grant, I think it's worth it. But, I apologize, because I did start down one path, but I didn't connect the dots on that, and that's totally on me. So I don't think we can have a grant writer or a grant writing department if you have somebody that can actually track these grants, because there's already a bunch of them.
Commissioner Jones.
I apologize to Herschel, but the health department didn't run through the state, and sheriff's department don't run theirs through, or they don't run theirs through the store. They both have been acting independently. What we received yesterday in the budget committee was front and back page, small print, about $20 million. I didn't add up the number of grants, but it's a lot of grants. And that's the issue that Commissioner Iverson just said. They've asked for help because they don't have the capacity to track all these with the dates that are required. And, it's not just these two, it's other department heads that are running into issues too. First of all, I apologize to you for that, but everything that goes in that report.
Commissioner Needs.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I do believe that we're here to help. Every single one of us are here to help. There's no doubt about that. But above even having a grant writer problem, we have a huge accountability problem. And every single one of these commissioners in here knows that. And if we create another job without clear definitions on who's got what and who needs to be accountable, then we are personally responsible for that. So I apologize, but I'm all about the grants, but I cannot support this tonight. But I did have a question. Would this, and I think you verified it, Commissioner Iverson, but would this have the possibility, just for clarity, of opening up and creating another department in which the county funds? Commissioner Vandenberg.
I think if it's a department that'll make our county money, yes. You know, if it does create another department, I think it can more than pay for itself, and it will be a revenue stream for our county. So if that's the case, yes, by all means, we need another department to bring us in more money. If it proves not to be valuable, then no, we shouldn't do that.
Okay, so that's what I was wondering. So this is potentially of looking at even more than just this $70,000 annual cost. So it's just the rushing of it. I appreciate it.
Commissioner Ward. Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. Just to lighten the mood up a little bit, is there any way I can get my photo glamour shot up there when I speak? Just everybody take a deep breath. I know at the Sheriff's Department, we've got one grant, it's about $1.2 million. And there's an officer that works at, and in that grant, it clearly says she can't do any other jobs in that department, at the Sheriff's Department, other than work on that grant. And I'll speak on what I know, lamp monitors. I have one that's a little over $27,000, and it's a paperwork nightmare. And if I'm not accountable for it, the Sheriff's Department has to pay that $27,000 back. So I don't think Zane gets out there when he's feeding cattle, and I see him out there a lot in cold weather. I don't ever stop because I keep driving by because it's too cold. And it's muddy, and I've got a uniform on, I'm not getting mud on my boots. I don't think he things just fall out of the sky. Well, we'll create a grant coordinator. I I think that lady right over there is covered up, and I think Larry Bailey's office is covered up. These grants, and I agree with all the comments, but I think if you make one mistake on one of these grants, and you don't cross your T's and dot your I's, especially on 1.2 million, I think they pay that back, and we could have probably caught that. We're just looking for somebody to kind of cover our bottom, so to speak. I think the department heads come and ask for help, and I think that's what our job is. We're not creating jobs. I think we're here to help department heads when they ask. I just don't think it's aimed to go around the tractor feeding cattle one day. Well, I'll create this position, absolutely. I think he's had multiple phone calls, and people have asked for help, and that's what we're supposed to do as a commission. So, I fully support this. I think it's great.
And that clears the board. I'll recognize Commissioner Hanover.
I've got one more bullet left in my gun. Chris, we come up to the podium and say, it's my last bullet. So, Ms. Davis, will you maybe share with the commission how overwhelmed you are and how this would be a benefit to you if we could get it done? I don't want to put you on the spot, but you're my last hope.
Well, I think, yeah, it would be a great help to us. Knock on wood, I'm not tooting our horn by any means, but since COVID, we have run how many millions of dollars through our Department of Grants. We've got all our ESSER grants, our ARPA grants that we've run, in addition to many other grants for the Sheriff's Office, the Health Department, various departments. So to say we've been on work overload in the last 3 years, I will clearly say we've been on overload. And to this day, we have not had to pay anything back. We've not been in the news for any of that. We've done a good job, but are we needing help? Yes. We've got new grants coming in all the time, outside of our ARPA and ESSER funds. Sheriff's Office gets them regularly. We're working with Kyle Carter on an AOC grant right now. It's an extremely short deadline. So we have moved some things to the side to meet that deadline, because we don't want to see him have to return any funds. It's only about $125,000 grant, but I'm sure everything in it he needs for the judges. We have to do that quite often. First thing I look at is what's the deadline on these grants. Some are very short, it could be 6 months or a year, some are 3 years. But we have to move around our schedules to meet those deadlines. That's not to say we still have to do our day-to-day purchases. We try not to let anything go to the wayside. I know everybody needs their supplies in a timely manner, so that's just something we have to coordinate on a day-to-day basis. But the grants can be extremely time-consuming. We never want to see ourselves in the newspaper for something we did in error and we have to pay the funds back. That is one of my biggest fears. We don't want to go there. But we don't want to knock somebody out of getting something either. I've talked to Dan about some grants in the past, and I think we've talked about it's a federal grant, it's a state grant. But any federal grant always has more stipulations and things that we have to follow, or we run the risk of having to pay that grant back. And that's basically what we've dealt with for 3 years with the ARPA and the ESSER funds. So, yes, if we can get some help, we greatly, greatly appreciate that. And I know Mr. Bailey's office did too. It hits us on the front end, hits his department on the back end of, getting the funds back. It's a reimbursable grant. And most of our, or you might disagree with me, but I think most of our grants are reimbursable. It's not like they just hand us the cash and say, here it is. No, we have to ask for the reimbursements on them. So.
Do you feel like this is time sensitive, with a month make a difference in your workload and what you have to do every day?
I don't know that a month would hurt. We're fighting it every day anyways. I mean, we're already there. The grant that we just received, I was no knowledge of. I'm meeting with them next week to sit down and talk talk to them about, whether needing, trying to get that process going.
Anybody else?
But before I recognize the Commissioner Glover, Attorney Street had a comment, I'll come up with me next issue. Attorney Street.
I forgot I hit my button. I guess I was going to do two things. Number one, summarize and try to see where we are on this. First of all, it's going to be under the finance director. Secondly, I assume the money will be put in his budget, and these may sound like trivial things, but they can end up being big things. The money will be put in the finance director's budget. I also heard that the finance director will write the job description. So I think those are the three important things. If everybody agrees with, then that kind of gets us on a little bit better footing. But I also, personally, it sounds to me like you're talking about a grant administrator. I've had trouble trying to figure out what a coordinator does. Coordinator to me sort of runs back and forth between the departments and says, I don't know, that's what a coordinator does. Sounds to me like you're describing an administrator, somebody that's responsible for implementing these grants. So maybe that might help some if you change the title, but that's just me. Thank you.
Mr. Glover.
Bill, Lane? Sir. You don't my work.
We look at the face, where'd she go? We look at the
The
face.
reason why I'm gonna say this is, every month Chris brings us in a list in finance committee, he goes over a list with us of all things going on in this county. And I'm sure a lot of that has got that list, it's supposed to be emailed to him for you to look over each month. And there is a pile of stuff there, and we have handled a pile of stuff. And, I often tell her and Michelle and the rest of that crew there, I don't see how they do what they do in the office. And I'm a team player, man, but I'm tired of staying in the dugout. It's time for us to start sharing some of this stuff around and get it took care of in here, instead of going through this every month like this. I know, agree. And, the bullet worked, I'm gonna vote for it.
So time to call the question then.
Commissioner Ward seeks recognition.
One more humor thing. Herschel has his picture up there, so I'm not sure why I can't get mine, but still. I think this is something that needs to happen. I think it's something that can grow. And it's time to, we're missing out on a lot of state federal money by not having probably a full-time grant writer or two that follow under Chris. Too much money out there, but I know everybody's already voting this, but it's time to start taking more advantage of state federal dollars when we get away.
We can change the name to administrator, coordinator, whatever Mr. Butler wants to do.
Commissioner Cross.
I like that, as co-sponsor, you don't mind?
Every sponsor, everyone voting in the affirmative to be added as co-sponsor?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Commissioner Vanover, you renew your motion on waiver of rules.
Yes, sir, ready to go.
Sponsor introduces item number 11 on waiver of rules requiring 16 votes for passage. Without objection, when the floor opens, please cast your vote on item number 11. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk.
19 yes, 3 no, 2 absent.
Having received the necessary majority for passage, item number 11 is adopted. Without objection, recognizing Commissioner King on item number 12. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 12 is a resolution to approve the use of accumulated unused sick leave towards years of service for the purpose of qualifying for retirement benefits provided by Sullivan County. And then if you read on down, the Sullivan County provides paid sick leave as a benefit to employees, and Sullivan County employees are allowed by Sullivan County to accumulate unused sick leave with no cap of the amount of the sick leave, which can be accumulated. And then it goes into part of what this resolution is all about. The state of Tennessee allows Sullivan County employees unused accumulated sick days to be used toward the years of service for the purpose of qualifying for retirement benefits provided to Sullivan County employees as part of the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System. Sullivan County, and in the next paragraph, whereas Sullivan County does not allow the employees to use this unaccumulated sick days. So what this resolution is going to do is allow Sullivan County employees to be on the same level or in the same position as the state of Tennessee, to where they can use their unused sick leaves to towards their retirement, say the retirement. Example would be, say you've got 30 years of service in and you're wanting to retire, and you want to retire at 30, but you lack a little bit, but you got sick leave that you can use towards that. So if you take your sick leave and cash it in, then you can go ahead and retire at an earlier time using those days of accrued sick leave. And this is, at some point, we're going to pay this one way or the other. All this is doing is helping some people that want to go ahead and retire to do it at an earlier time. And we're still going to be paying this, basically the same amount. It's just when we're going to do this. And I'm not by no means know all the ins and outs, because this is very complicated. After I got into this, there's a lot of variables in this whole thing of what we're doing, and I think I'll ask Dan if you want to talk about this a little bit more than you could probably have more facts and figures than what I do.
I'm going to recognize Spring Street. He pressed his button. I'll come back to Commissioner Cotton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wrote this resolution and was involved in it. Let me say one thing on the front end to be very clear. This is not cashing in sick pay. Our handbook specifically says that you can't cash in sick pay. So this does not involve cashing it in. You're not going to get paid those sick days. All this does is make the county's policy the same as the state's. And as simple as I can make it, the state currently allows you to use your unused sick pay towards the amount of years credit you get when you apply for retirement. So for example, if you've got, and this is usually only an issue with people that have been working for the county for a long time. So for example, if you have 29 years and 6 months, and you have 6 months of sick pay bank that you haven't used, the state would give you credit for a full 30 years. But as it currently exists, the county would not. So you could go ahead and get your 30-year retirement with the state, but you couldn't get your 30-year retirement with the county. All this is attempting to do is to make them the same, but of course it is going with the state method. So now if you pass this resolution, if you have 29 years and 6 months plus 6 months of accumulated sick pay, the county will recognize you as having 30 years of service. But they won't pay you for that sick pay, so there's not going to be any, quote, cashing out, end quote. You just get credit towards your years of service.
Any questions? Commissioner Cowell.
Thank you. I want to say this is a great benefit to employees. on Sullivan County. The Sullivan County Board of Education already does this because I retired with it. And another benefit to it is the employees might not, they ought to stay out of work and use sick time every time that they get a day on sick pay. And that way you wouldn't have to get double labor to replace them. But this would give them an incentive to keep their sick time till they retire. Because I added 1 year of sick time to my retirement. And also, I know that they don't pay you daily for it, but Sullivan County Board of Education does. It's not very much, but they still pay you. They paid me for all those sick days per day. And I got me a good check, plus 1 year of retirement added.
Mr. Cross.
Just a quick question, because I actually was called this week, it's so weird on my retirement. And for me, it's in days, and like every 20 days, I'll get a month. I think it's 20 days for us equals a month. Is this set up, I guess my question would be, the state lines out what equals what, correct? Is that correct for me to say? They say how many hours equals what?
Right.
Okay, I just want to check.
And I won't put this on first reading, because I know there's a lot of discussion and a lot of, instead of us going through this twice, I think we need to, put this on first reading and come and let people, get their questions answered and come back next month and vote on it.
Have one more question?
Yeah. Mr. Harrison.
Just gonna say, if this is lining up Sullivan County and the state, I think it's a fantastic thing. As a recently retired person, I highly recommend everybody retiring, just saying. But, I'd like to be added as a coach
I'm enjoying the heck out of it.
Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Chair. This is for Dan. Dan, not long ago, we passed one where, county employees could keep their insurance up to 25 years, correct?
If you're 55. Now, you're getting into specifics, but I believe I'm correct in saying you can retire with county benefits. Now, we got state benefits and county benefits. The only county benefits is medical insurance. At 25 years, if you're 50, you have to be 55 years of age. But if you're 30, it doesn't matter what age you are. And that's what motivated really this resolution, because I don't know if you remember or not, and I may be getting off your question, but about a year ago, we passed a resolution that said if you get 30 years, we eliminated the age requirement. And so we have an individual, and that was what sort of brought this to the table, who has 30 years, but he's nowhere near 55 years of age. But he is eligible to retire because we passed that resolution about a year ago. But he fits the example I just described. The state's going to give him credit for 6 months of sick pay, which will make him 30 years. But he's going to have to work another 6 months in Sullivan County in order to get his county retirement. Now, I'm sorry, I sort of took over the conversation. And all that, did I answer your question?
Somewhat, but so it doesn't affect somebody that was wanting to retire at 25 years, just for the benefits, the health benefits. That wouldn't change anything. You could retire with 24 and a half years and 6 months of sick time.
Under this, you could, yes.
So if we had, we'll change that also.
Yes. You're going to get credit. It doesn't really matter how many years or what. If you qualify, well, let me back up. When you're figuring how much time credit you have in order to determine whether you meet the requirements for Sullivan County, and there's only 2 classes, 25 years, age 55, 30 years, no age. You can add in your sick time to your year's work to reach that goal. So when you say it doesn't change anything, it will help because you'll get to add in your sick time, whereas right now you can't.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
We'll put it on first reading, bring it back next month. Commissioner King moves first reading on item number 12 without objection. Recognize Commissioner Locke, item number 13.
Mr.
resolution is to accept the donation of two 2023 Royal Enfield motorcycles to Sullivan County EMS. This was a program that Royal Enfield implemented about a year ago. It just come over to the United States about 7 or 8 months ago. They implemented it overseas. I found out about it, did a application, we got accepted through EMS to have these bikes. These bikes be utilized for parades, off-road, Money Creek, race standbys, Base Mountain Fun Fest. They are no cost to the county. We have to do what they want in a 2-year agreement, such as publication, photos, give them dispatch runs per month, what they're utilized in being and doing on the street, how they're helping, how they're not helping, and whatnot. So on the agreement, it's got my name to sign. That's going to be Chris Davis. That's goes through her office, and she was here. I think she's gone. So okay. So we're on board with it. I do need to amend the resolution to put and add $4,000. The reason I want to add $4,000 is when these bikes come in, we're going to have to train personnel to use them and set a bike team up. In order to have a bike team and be on the road course for training, we have to have helmets. They also have to have sirens and lights. And they do come equipped with hard pelican cases to store O2 equipment, cardiac monitors. We want to haul those on these particular bikes, and high dollar cost equipment. So I do ask that we amend the resolution to add $4,000 so they can be equipped, ready to go without having to go back and forth, coming back here to ask for money.
You've heard the explanation on item number 13. Recognize Commissioner Aker for discussion.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Chairman Pro Tem, and I guess I've got my picture up there next to my name. And so you mentioned in this resolution, promotional, taking pictures and all that, could maybe Commissioner Ward be part of that so he could get his picture taken and support about that?
Now, I won't waive the rules, take vote, and get it over with.
Sponsor moves waiver of rules on item number 13. Commissioner Calvin.
I was just wondering, where's the 4,000 going to come from? Is it general fund? Okay, thank you.
Anyone else seek recognition on item number 13?
Everybody in the firm will be added.
Everyone that votes in the affirmative be added as co-sponsor. Without objection. Commissioner King.
How come this is not coming out of EMS money? You got money down there, why don't you take some of that money and do it?
Because I want to come out of the general fund balance. Let me ask you a question. Did you ask me? No.
Paybacks.
No, wait.
No.
This last resolution you just did, you said you weren't gonna make us come back up here and hear it twice. Well, when you put it on first reading, that's what you did. We're gonna hear it twice.
That's right. So the reason. People have.
Should have waived the rules on it, voted on it tonight, so we didn't have to hear it twice, King.
Take the money out of EMS, let's go with it.
Let's go. Vote.
So take it out buildings.
Sponsor moves adoption of item number 13 on waiver of rules. Without objection, when the board opens, please cast your vote on item number 13. Has every member voted? Any member wish to change their vote? Madam Clerk? Having received the necessary majority of the votes cast, item number 13 is adopted. That completes our regular calendar. Anyone seek recognition for announcements? Commissioner Ward.
Dan, if you don't care, after the meeting, I'd like to meet with you, see if you can both get our picture up there.
Commissioner Means.
Yes, this question is
Commissioner King. I was just wondering when the next rodeo was going to be.
No, we've been in a rodeo in here, I think, but it was last Saturday, so it'll be 2 weeks. So, all right, thank you.
And I have a quick one, before anyone sees recognition. Sunday, February 24th at John Spear Middle School at 3 p.m. This is Andrea Baker. She's going to be speaking on tales of transatlantic freedom at the Black History Month program, and that is Sunday, February 25th at 3 p.m. at the John Spear Middle School. And I'll send an email out announcing that as well. Does anyone have any announcements or motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor, say aye. Stand adjourned.
I'd be willing to.
Yes,